You know, it's a little strange when you really think about it. All our life, we hear the same line again and again. Just work hard, and everything will be okay. And it sounds right. Simple. Clean. Almost comforting. So we follow it. We push ourselves. We stay busy. We try to do more, be more, thinking this is the only thing that matters. But then, slowly, something feels off. You look around, and you start noticing things you didn't notice before. People who are working really hard, like honestly giving everything, still stuck in the same place for years. And at the same time, there are people who don't even look that busy, but somehow they are moving ahead. And that feeling, I don't know. It's confusing. Because now, your mind starts asking a question you were never supposed to ask. If hard work is everything, then why doesn't it work for everyone? I remember this phase very clearly. And it didn't happen suddenly. It was slow, almost unnoticeable at first. For a long time, I genuinely believed that hard work is the only thing that matters. Like, if you are putting in enough effort, if you are staying consistent, if you are not being lazy, then success is just a matter of time. That's what everyone says, right? Teachers, parents, random motivational videos, everywhere the same message. And honestly, it feels right. It feels fair. Because if hard work works, then at least you have control over your life. You just have to try more, do more, push more. So I followed that. I didn't question it. I thought maybe I just need to increase my effort. If I'm already working, then I should work harder. If I'm already trying, then I should try more seriously. I started staying busy almost all the time. Even when I was tired, I would still continue. Because somewhere inside, I felt like stopping means I'm falling behind. And I didn't want that. I wanted to feel like I'm doing something, like I'm moving forward, even if it's slow. There was this silent pressure, not from others, but from myself. Like, if I'm not working, then I'm wasting time. And if I waste time, then I'm the reason things are not improving. But after some time, I don't know. This strange feeling started coming in. Not very strong at first. Just small thoughts here and there like, why does it feel the same? Why does it feel like I'm doing so much, but nothing is really changing? It's not like there was zero progress, but something was happening, but it didn't feel meaningful. It felt like I was just moving in circles. Same routine, same effort, same results. And that's when it started to feel a little heavy. Because now it wasn't just about working hard. It was about not understanding what's going wrong. And then I started noticing other people more carefully. Before that, I never paid attention. I was too focused on my own work. But now, I couldn't ignore it. There were people who were not even putting in that much effort. At least, not visibly. They were more relaxed, more balanced. They had time for other things. They didn't look constantly busy like me. And still, they were growing, slowly but clearly. And that's where things started getting uncomfortable. Because now the comparison wasn't about jealousy, it was about confusion. Like, how is this working for them? What are they doing differently? I'm not saying they were doing nothing. Of course they were working, but not in that intense, always busy way. And still, somehow their results looked better, more stable, more real. At first, I tried to ignore it. I told myself, maybe I'm just overthinking. Maybe I just need more patience. Maybe my time hasn't come yet. And honestly, that thought gave a little comfort, because it allowed me to continue without questioning too much. But deep down, that doubt didn't go away. It stayed there, quietly. So what did I do? I did what most people do. I tried to fix it by doing even more. I increased my effort. I thought maybe I'm still not working enough. Maybe the problem is that I need to push harder than before. So I started stretching myself even more. Longer hours, less breaks, more pressure. And for some time, it felt like I'm doing the right thing again. That same old belief. If I just keep going, something will eventually change. But it didn't. Instead, I just felt more tired. Mentally more than physically. Because now it wasn't just effort. It was effort without clarity. I was doing things, but I wasn't sure if those things even mattered. And that's a very strange feeling, when you are working a lot, but you don't know if it's leading anywhere. And that's where the real confusion started. Because now the question was not, am I working hard enough? The question became, what if hard work alone is not enough? That question didn't hit me like some big realization. It stayed in my head quietly for days. I didn't even want to accept it at first. Because if hard work is not enough, then what does that even mean? It almost feels uncomfortable to think like that. Because all this time, you are holding on to one simple belief. And suddenly, that belief starts shaking a little. I remember I didn't change anything immediately. I still kept working the same way, same routine, same effort. But now, there was awareness. A small voice in the background that kept asking, "Are you sure this is the right way?" And that voice was annoying, because it didn't give answers, it only created doubt. And slowly, I started observing more carefully. Not just myself, but everything around me. What people are doing, how they are doing, where they are putting their time, and how they are thinking. And one thing became very clear, very slowly. The difference is not always in how hard someone is working. The difference is in what they are working on. It sounds simple, almost obvious, but when you really sit with it, it hits differently. Because I realized I was spending a lot of time doing things that felt productive, but were not actually moving me forward. Busy, but not effective. Effort, but no direction. It's like you are running on a treadmill. You are tired, you are sweating, you feel like you did something, but you are still in the same place. And the worst part is, it doesn't look wrong from outside. If someone sees you, they will say, "Wow, you are working so hard." And even you start believing that. You start feeling a little satisfied, like at least I'm trying. But deep inside, there is no real progress. That's when I started noticing something else too. People who were growing. They were not just working hard randomly. They were very selective. They didn't do everything. They didn't say yes to every task. They didn't just stay busy for the sake of it. They were choosing very carefully where to put their energy. And that was new for me. Because I always thought saying yes to more work means more growth. Like, more effort equals more results. But now it started looking different. It felt like more effort in the wrong place just makes you more tired, not more successful. There was also this one uncomfortable realization that hurt a little, honestly. That sometimes I was working hard just to feel better about myself. Yeah, it sounds weird, but it's true. Like, staying busy was giving me a sense of control. Even if things were not improving, at least I could say, I'm trying my best. And that protects you from feeling like you are failing. Because if you are trying, then you can always blame time, luck, situation, anything. But when you stop and think properly, you realize trying is not enough. Trying in the right direction is what actually matters. And that's where things started shifting a little. Not completely, not suddenly, but slowly. I started asking different questions. Instead of just thinking, How can I work more? I started thinking, is this even worth working on? Is this skill useful? Is this taking me anywhere? Or just keeping me busy? And honestly, those questions were uncomfortable, because sometimes the answer was no. And accepting that means you have been wasting your time. Not intentionally, but still. And that feeling is heavy. Because now you can't just continue blindly. Now you know something is off. And that's when it really started making sense to me, in a deeper way. Hard work is not useless. It's important. It's necessary. But without direction, without awareness, without thinking, it can easily turn into just effort, with no real outcome. And that's where it really started to change for me. Not outside, but inside my thinking. Because once you see this, you can't unsee it. I remember sitting one day, not even doing anything special, just thinking about everything I've been doing till now. All the effort, all the time, all the energy. And for the first time, I didn't ask, how much did I work? I asked something else. Where did all that work actually go? And that question felt a little uncomfortable. Because when I tried to answer it honestly, a lot of things didn't make sense anymore. It felt like I was building something, but without a clear plan, like placing bricks one by one, but not knowing what I'm trying to build. So even after so much effort, there was no clear structure, no clear direction. And that's when I understood something very simple, but very powerful. Hard work only works when it is aligned. Aligned with the right skill, aligned with the right goal, aligned with something that actually has value. Otherwise, it's just movement. And movement can feel like progress, but it's not always progress. It's like, imagine you are climbing a ladder with full effort, no breaks, completely focused. But after reaching the top, you realize the ladder was placed on the wrong wall. That feeling, is exactly what I started fearing. Because suddenly, it was not just about effort, it was about direction. And direction is not always obvious. Nobody teaches you that clearly. Everyone tells you to work hard, but very few people tell you where to put that hard work. And this is where things get tricky. Because choosing the right direction means you have to pause sometimes. You have to think. You have to question what you are doing. And that feels uncomfortable, because it feels like you are slowing down. But actually, that pause is what saves your time. I also realized something else. I was focusing a lot on doing things, but not enough on improving the quality of what I was doing. As repeating the same actions again and again, thinking repetition will automatically make things better. But if the way you are doing something is not correct, repeating it only makes you more stuck. And that hit hard. Because now it was not just about working, it was about learning, adjusting, improving, and sometimes even stopping something completely. And that's not easy. Stopping something you've been doing for so long feels like failure, like you are giving up. But sometimes, it's not giving up. It's correcting your path. And that shift, from just working hard to actually thinking about your work, that's where the real difference starts. Because now, you are not just putting effort blindly, you are placing it carefully. And slowly, very slowly, things start feeling different. Not easier, but clearer. And clarity changes everything. And then, there was another layer to this, something I didn't even think about before. Because even after understanding direction, even after trying to fix what I was working on. There was still something missing. Not completely missing, but incomplete. Like, you are doing better now, but still, something is not clicking fully. And that's when I started noticing something a little uncomfortable again. It's not just about what you do. It's also about how it reaches people. Yeah, that part. Because for a long time I had this belief that if your work is good, people will automatically notice it. Like, quality speaks for itself. If you are doing something valuable, it will find its way. And honestly, that sounds nice, feels fair. But reality doesn't always work like that. There are so many people doing really good work, quietly, consistently, but no one knows about them. Not because they are not good enough, but because they are not visible. And that realization felt a little harsh at first. Because now it's not just about improving your work. It's about showing your work too. And that feels uncomfortable for a lot of people, including me. Like, putting yourself out there, talking about what you do, sharing your work. It almost feels like you are trying to get attention, and somewhere deep inside, we are taught that it's not a good thing. Like, just do your work quietly. But the truth is, if no one knows what you are doing, then how will anything come from it? Opportunities don't just appear randomly. People need to see you, understand you, trust you. Only then something starts building. And I started noticing this pattern again and again. People who were growing. They were not just working in silence. They were sharing, communicating, expressing. Not in a fake way, not loudly, but clearly. They knew how to present what they do. And that's a skill, a very underrated skill. Because doing the work and showing the work are two different things, and both matter. Then comes another thing, which is even more subtle. Decision-making. Because at the end of the day, your progress is not just based on how hard you work. It's based on the decisions you make every day, what you choose to focus on, what you ignore, what you continue, what you stop. All these small decisions, they shape everything. And I realized I was not really making decisions consciously. I was just reacting. Doing what felt urgent. Doing what felt productive. Doing what I was used to, but not really thinking. Is this the best use of my time? And that changes a lot. Because smart work is not about doing less. It's about doing the right things at the right time. Sometimes it means doing more. Sometimes it means doing less. Sometimes it means doing nothing for a while and just observing. And that doing nothing part is very uncomfortable because it feels like you are wasting time. But actually, that's where clarity builds. That's where you understand patterns. That's where you see mistakes. That's where you adjust. And slowly, you stop running blindly. You start moving with awareness. Not perfect. Not always right. But at least conscious. And that's a completely different feeling. Because now, your effort is not scattered everywhere. It has direction. It has intention. It has purpose. And when effort meets awareness like that, even small actions start creating real impact. Not instantly, not magically, but steadily, in a way that actually feels meaningful. And after all this, after all the confusion, the overthinking, the small realizations building up slowly, something inside me just became quiet. Not in a bad way, not like giving up, but more like things started making a little more sense. Not perfectly, not completely, but enough to feel a shift. Because earlier, everything felt like pressure. Like I have to do more. I have to be better. I have to catch up. There was always this rush, this feeling that I'm behind, and the only way to fix it is to work harder. But now, that urgency started slowing down a bit, not because I stopped caring, but because I started understanding. I realized maybe the problem was never that I wasn't working hard enough. Maybe the problem was I was working without clarity, without awareness, without really understanding what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And that changes how you see everything. Now, hard work doesn't feel like a burden anymore. It feels like a tool, something you use, not something you blindly depend on, because earlier, I was almost worshiping hard work, like it's the only answer to everything. But now, it feels more balanced. You still need to work hard, of course. Nothing happens without effort. But at the same time, you also need to pause sometimes. Think, adjust, change direction if needed. And that doesn't mean you are weak. It just means you are aware. And honestly, this awareness makes things feel lighter. Because now, you are not just pushing yourself all the time. You are also understanding yourself. You know when something is working and when it's not. You are not afraid to question your own actions, and that's a big shift. Earlier, I used to think consistency means doing the same thing again and again no matter what. But now it feels different. Now consistency means staying committed to growth, even if the path changes. Sometimes you move fast. Sometimes you slow down. Sometimes you stop and rethink everything. And all of that is still progress. There's also this calm acceptance that came with it. That things take time, real time. Not the kind of time we imagine in our head, but actual time. With mistakes, with wrong decisions, with learning. And that's okay. You don't have to rush everything. You don't have to prove anything to anyone every single day. You just have to keep moving, but in a way that actually makes sense to you. And maybe that's the missing part no one really talks about. Not just working hard, but working with understanding. Not just doing more, but doing what actually matters. Not just staying busy, but being aware. And when all these things come together, hard work finally starts making sense. Not as the only answer, but as a part of a bigger picture. And maybe that's enough. Not perfect, not guaranteed, but at least real.